Hey there, sports fans, and welcome back. Today we're taking a look at one of my personal favorite arcade-style basketball games, and that's Dunk Dream for the neo-geo CD, also known as Street Slam in North America and Street Hoop in Europe. It was developed and published by Data East and released into arcades and on the neo-geo home consoles in 1994. It was also later released on the Wii Virtual Console and as part of the Data East Arcade Classics collection, also on the Wii. The only significant difference between the different regions is that in the North American version, you're given 10 teams to choose from that represent 10 different American cities, while in the Japanese and European versions, each team represents a different country. But other than that, they're all the exact same game, just with different names. If there's one game that usually draws comparisons from Dunk Dream, it's NBA Jam, as it's also an arcade game that features very simple controls and comically over-the-top dunks, but there are some pretty stark differences between the two games. For starters, instead of 2-on-2, Dunk Dream features 3-on-3 gameplay, with each team having its own unique stats, as opposed to each individual player, and those stats are speed, defense, dunks, and three-point shooting. Dunk Dream only makes use of two buttons, pass and shoot when on offense, and steal and block when on defense. You can also perform fake-out shots and jumping passes, which are detailed in the instruction manual, but also shown to you between matches during gameplay, which is very useful if you don't have a manual handy or don't care to read through it. Also, there is no turbo run in this game, but there is something similar to NBA Jam's Heat mode. At the bottom of the screen, you have a super shot meter that fills up as you score points. When it's full, you can either pull off an insane unblockable dunk or sink a long-range shot that automatically finds the goal and nets you a free 3 points. Dunk Dream only features one gameplay mode, your typical arcade run-through, but you can adjust the difficulty and match length, and a second player can join in for what is some especially fun multiplayer. I'm honestly not a huge sports fan and care little or nothing at all for simulation sports games, but I'm a sucker for a good arcade sports game that features simple controls, fast-paced and fun gameplay, and competitive multiplayer, and Dunk Dream meets all of those requirements with ease. It's a very enjoyable pick-up-and-play game.
Magic on the blacktop. Work that ball. Magic on the blacktop.
3-point basket.
Magic on the blacktop. Magic on the blacktop. Magic on the blacktop.
3-point basket. Upset. Up with that!
3-on-3 street basketball! You wanna join in? You gotta
No goal! Player one wins!
In addition to the fun gameplay, Dunk Dream also features some great graphics and some good, if slightly dated and sometimes confused, sound design. This is an especially colorful game with some nicely detailed courts that are all set in some manner of exterior location, such as various parks or beachside, and they're all very pleasant to look at for the brief moments that you can actually take your eyes away from the action. The character models look pretty good too. They are fairly large sprites, but there is a lot of palette swapping going on here. But in general, this game is at least on par graphically with some of Data East's other mid-90s titles like Flying Power Disc and Fighter's History. Definitely not a bad-looking game. The soundtrack I also find to be enjoyable, but admittedly, it can be kind of cheesy. All of the tracks have either a jazzy or hip-hop sound to them, and they all feature a vocal track as well, and while the music itself is good, the lyrics to the songs often sound kind of nonsensical and totally random, which I honestly find a bit comical, so it gets a thumbs up from me for getting a few chuckles. The game announcer is great too. He brings a lot of energy and excitement to the game, but again, there's a bit of confusion here. Shots from directly next to the basket being called half-court shots, jumping shots being called when there wasn't a jump in sight, like somebody knew the basketball lingo but didn't know exactly where it all went, but it's nothing that's unforgivable. Overall, this is a game that features awesome arcade graphics and sound, and some extremely fun gameplay. Those little quirks just help it stand out that much more.
Bad move, never take a fall. Always on the winning side. Passes on the street.
Three-point basket. Jump shot. Three-point basket. Half-court shot. Three-point basket. Even up. Dunk shot.
So this is an excellent arcade sports title that I can easily recommend to people that enjoyed similar games such as NBA Jam. This is a great offering from Data East at arguably their best period. If you want to get it on neo-geo hardware, the Japanese CD version is the most affordable, typically going for between $40 and $60 online, which is still kind of steep, but depending on how much you like this style of game, it'll probably be worth it to you. It's Dunk Dream, Street Slam, Street Hoop, whatever you call it. It's awesome.
See you back on the blacktop.